Hey guys, welcome back. I see once again we have new subscribers. Thank you. I see we've also maintained old subscribers. Very much appreciated. All of you guys are awesome. Moving forward, today I wanted to kind of open up the discussion as to, like, is trailing for everyone? Trailers versus rock crawlers, that kind of thing. You can see I've got the Coyote back on the bench. I was just doing a couple little things to check it over. I officially have the day off, so I'll be able to attend the rock crawling competition on the 31st. I have my new winch installed, which is good. We went with the Endura. It's a 35 kg winch servo. I did not use either line they supplied. I actually used the inside of a piece of paracord, which has, multiple strands inside. Paracord is also known as 550 cord. It's 550 pound test. I believe there's 7 strands in there. A little bit of math says each strand should roughly support like 70, 75 pound test, what have you. Should be more than enough, but ultimately what that does is it allows me to have, probably an extra 6 to 12 inches of winch line above and beyond what they supplied that fits on the spool just fine. It's easily replaceable, whatever. I used a fishing treble hook and basically blunted the points a little bit so I'm not in danger of stabbing myself hooking and unhooking the winch. But there's still enough to bite onto something, and of course I got rid of the barbs so that you don't have to fight with it to get it, unstuck from a tree or anything like that. But one of the things that, I thought was interesting, I've been doing a lot of the trail running at this point. A lot of that is due to the fact that my trail truck is the newest in my collection, and I think, as far as all of us are concerned, I could be wrong, but ultimately the newest thing is always the best thing, so it's been getting more runtime than other stuff. And also I signed up for this RC 4-wheel drive challenge, where you have to do a certain amount of elevation climb and a certain number of miles and whatever to qualify. And of course, at the end, this is on the Scalectra app, however you say that. I kind of feel like it's a smash of 2 words. I think it's supposed to be like scale tracking. And, they just pushed it together and made it into this thing that's awkward to pronounce. But it's on there. It's a challenge. At the end of it, you get a digital trophy to add to your profile, but you also get a 10% off coupon that can be used at the rc4wheeldrive.com store, which kind of sounds like fun. It's a good excuse to get out, what have you. But yeah, I kind of think that there are a bunch of people out there that look at trail trucks and they're like, I need another truck and whatever and so forth. And, the perception of it, to me anyway, is that it is a specialized endeavor. And, these are the guys that are specifically chasing scale accessories and whatever. And that is absolutely a way that you can do it. No question about that. I don't really feel like it's the only way that you can do it. Like, it is something that is very accessible to a lot of people. Ultimately, to me, trailing is nothing more than essentially hiking with an RC that, you ultimately never really have to carry. Like, the instant you got out of the car at the trailhead, you threw it on the ground, plugged in the battery, and started driving and drove it the entire time. And so ultimately what it needs to be is something that obviously is capable of off-road, has, the appropriate gearing and so forth that you can run, potentially back-to-back batteries through it without overheating the motor and that kind of thing. And enough ground clearance to get over the majority of obstacles that you're going to run into, sticks and roots and rocks and things and whatever. And so, I've been out there with obviously the Element Trailrunner quite a bit, but I've also done some trailing with the FMS F100 monster truck. I've done some with my Kyosho Sandmaster buggy, which, a little lower to the ground, a little less capable, but it adds a different element to the trailing experience in the sense that it's also quite a bit faster, as is the monster truck. And so, if you hit something where, like, instead of rock climbing, you've got a section that people have been using for BMX stuff in the woods that now has whoops and things, like you can get out and, catch a little bit of air and whatever. But yeah, ultimately, the trail truck, trail vehicle of your choice, has nothing to do with being a ultimately specialized piece of equipment. Like I said, it's off-road capable. It has to go at least as fast as you can comfortably walk over a sustained period. And like I said, it should be geared appropriately and powered appropriately, where you are not concerned about overheating while you're out there. You don't want to have, a battery and a half through it and have the motor start pouring smoke out because you're running, high speed gearing that really pushes everything to the max and it just can't take it anymore. That being said, this here to me is not an ideal trail vehicle. It absolutely, like, speed wise, it's fine. Ground clearance, it's obviously fine. But it is more specialized towards rock crawling. It has added weight. It has a much more forward weight style bias. And ultimately, the more weight you keep stacking onto something to make it specialized towards that one activity, the more strain you're putting on the motor to basically go down the trail over a long sustained period. And so, yeah, I would absolutely, drop this at the trailhead and drive it into an area where I was going to do a bunch of crawling with it. But this is not my first pick as far as, what I would go out and do, 4 miles of trails with. It's, like I said, I'm going to potentially drive it in a half a mile to a rock formation that I know is available, where I can start practicing running some lines and that kind of stuff, trying to crawl up various boulders and what have you, but not the same as, the Element Trailrunner. That there, like I said, that thing is happy cruising along the whole time. My biggest complaint with that vehicle there is the fact that, I get tired and it does not. As long as I have a fresh battery, it will just keep going. I've got, because of the app I've been using, like I said, I've been using it to track mileage almost like an odometer. And I've got almost 12 miles on it at this point. And, real miles, not 10th scale miles or whatever, but actual 12 miles on it at this point. I have done a few things. Let me just pull that out real quick. We'll get that on the bench. It's dirty. You've been warned. I haven't cleaned it after yesterday's run. So there is dirt to be had, as there should be. But yeah, after nearly 12 miles, I have had the passenger side mirror come off, and I lost the backer, so that was not able to be reattached. I continued running the next time out, and on the last video with the 500 feet of elevation climb over the course of 1 mile, which, let me tell you, that will absolutely tax you this thing like just kept going. Like I said, it just kept going and going, and I got winded, and hit parts of the trail where you're not really hiking anymore. You've got almost the need to bend down and like start putting your hands into things to keep going upward, because it was getting really steep towards the top. But the vast majority of that, this thing was on the ground without my help, just kicking up dust and continuing to move forward. And at some point in time, I did roll it over again, probably more than once. During one of those, somewheres towards the top, I lost the driver's side mirror and the backing piece that holds on, and I did not realize that it had actually happened. So that is officially gone. I got a buddy of mine that's working on 3D printing a couple of folding replacements, which hopefully will hold up better / be available, because I found nothing currently that offers factory replacements. Everyone appears to be out of stock, and that is what it is. The only thing that I have had that resembles a mechanical failure in that time is yesterday when I was out. This right here at the end of the control arm, this lower ball popped out. The dog bone pulled away from the outdrive, and so I literally just had to push the dog bone back in, pop the ball back inside the cup. No replacement parts were needed, no tools were needed. It was literally a 30-second repair on the side of the trail. Not a big deal. The other thing that I have had is, it looks like there is a bunch of dirt collecting at the bottom of the front shock cups. And that kind of tends to imply that I've had a little bit of oil seepage, which is to be expected. So I'm probably going to clean those up and tear the front shocks down shortly and just check the oil level, maybe replace it if, that is what needs to happen. But, this has been a really, really well set up RTR. I would absolutely not hesitate to recommend it to somebody. I've not done much in the way of changing anything. It is still the factory suspension setup, factory wheels and tires, factory drive line, the motor's the same, the ESC is still the same. My new settings on the ESC with the program card have been working out great for me. I have gone in and added differential grease inside the axles, although a refreshing change. It actually did have some in there direct from the factory, but I cleaned that out. I put some fresh stuff in. I have noticed that there is, in harder situations, some servo fade where this could certainly stand to be upgraded, but I haven't done it yet. Ultimately, it has been a great truck. I picked it up at Nitro Hobbies. If you're a first-time customer of theirs, when you sign up, they give you like a 5% off coupon. I had a coupon for other reasons. I've shopped with them before. They seem to be a great resource for me. I ordered this on a Thursday. It was in the wind and got to me 2 days later on the Saturday. And, price-wise, I got no complaints. Quality-wise, I have no complaints. But I see we're running almost up to the 15-minute mark, so I'm going to cut it here, and we're going to have a part 2 of what should you bring with you when you go out trailing kind of thing. All right, talk to you then. Have a great day.